noise.
Yeah, what is your feedback?
It's not me, it's you.
It's not me, it's you.
What's up? We are live once again. Welcome to
Oh,
the greatest podcast in the world on We're Not Friends podcast,
it's all right.
Starring Max and his co-host Tasha. Who's the
Me.
Bat? Who's the Batman and who's the Robin here?
Um, well, you could be both because I don't want to be either one of them. I would rather be Poison Ivy in this situation.
Poison Ivy. It's like the wackest villain.
I fucked with Poison Ivy. I really fucked with the when did the movie come out? 97, I think, with Poison Ivy. The Batman one, and I think it had like Alicia Silver or whatever. I really like that. What?
Alicia Keys?
No, it wasn't Alicia Keys. I liked her though.
Alicia
I like
Silverstone.
That's it. Yeah, I like that movie.
Who was also Clueless. Have you seen Clueless?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's a good classic for sure. It's up there with Legally Blonde. You know, as good like early 2000s.
Did you watch the Scream movies? Scream?
Yeah, I watched them.
Did you watch I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Okay, this isn't like 20 questions hour. What the hell?
I'm just asking. Gosh, I want to get to know my co-host.
Don't.
I want to know who I'm working alongside. You know, we're gonna be making.
If you don't know who you're working with at this point, then that's on you.
I feel like I barely know you.
Yeah, I barely know you. Thank God for that.
Guys, so today is the gossip episode, and your boy Max went and made some popcorn to commemorate the evening. Tasha has the hottest goss out in the streets these days, and I have thoughts. I just did my research about an hour ago, so I'm all caught up.
See, that's where I'm kind of like a little iffy because you said you did your research in the past hour.
Yeah.
But I literally, so I was having this conversation with a coworker last week about it because, I mean, I've kind of kept up to date with it. Like, I've heard the rumors since like last summer about all the drama within this movie and the issues, whatnot. But I never really looked deep into it. But then I saw recently that the main director guy, Justin, he posted his own website and he posted both the documents, his legal documents, and both are 200 pages long. So I've literally spent like the whole week basically in all my free time here reading through this shit, and it's juicy.
Well, let me ask you this. Why?
Literally just because I mean, I knew some things about it, but I'm like, it just sounds like drama. Like, it just sounds like whatever. Like, you know, this person said this person said this type of thing, you know, like, it's just like a he said, she said thing. And then I saw this one post last week on, I think it was on Twitter, actually, of like a leaked, like, DM or something like that of like behind the scenes stuff. And I'm like, wait, this is an interesting receipt that like literally proved like a statement from Blake wrong. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because like this is a high level like celebrity out here, right? That like most people say like she does no wrong, whatever, like has a good rep. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting, like a negative, like a
much like Amber Heard.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like this is like so opposite essentially. So then I was like, you know what? And then yeah, I just started reading it just for fun. Like me and my coworker were just looking through to see. And then I was like, holy shit. Like as we kept going, we were like, oh my God, this is the race. It's just receipt after receipt after. Like it's just like, and it's laid out every single fucking day in thorough detail. I was like, damn, like he really just came out here and dropped it and was like, here's my truth.
So let's do it this way, Tosh, because I know you have like the absolute facts about the whole case or whatever, and you've been kind of like studying this. So let me tell you what I know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and
Please.
and then you can correct the shit out of me because I know half of what I say is gonna be hella wrong anyway. But so as far as I know, this is what
Mhm.
happened. So they homeboy, what's his first name? Justin? Is that his name?
Yeah, Justin is the main director, and he also was the lead actor in the
Yeah.
movie. It Ends With Us, and then Blake Lively, she was also the lead actress in the
Hmm.
movie.
So he signed on to make this movie with the author of the book, and they had
Hmm.
done that ahead of time, way before they even thought of Blake Lively. So she wanted him to be the the lead guy in it, and this book is about uh domestic abuse, right? This book and the movie. So I feel like you want to correct me already. Go ahead,
No,
go.
no, 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 no. It's just it's literally like the first page is like, and the whole lawsuit is about this. Like you literally
Okay,
have to go to the beginning.
okay,
I
okay,
love
okay.
it.
Okay, so then they sign on to do the deal, and then they bring Blake Lively on board. And what ends up happening is Blake Lively starts trying to do shit her way all throughout the whole movie. And they concede to her a lot of things throughout the whole journey of the movie. And she starts setting shit like she starts telling them that she wants her own wardrobe and she wants to do her own things. And from what I heard initially is that the dude was doing creepy stuff backstage. Like that's just
Mhm.
what I heard through the grapevine. And I didn't really like I got a
Mhm.
job and I got like a family, so I don't really look into things like these. like I'm,
Yeah.
I'm busy, I'm busy trying to pay bills, but because Tasha brought it up, I was like, let me get a little bit more. So yeah, I had heard just in passing that homeboy was doing creepy stuff. And that's crazy because the dudes always get like the bad rap at the beginning, and then
Hmm.
like it's always kind of like up to the dudes to prove their innocence because they're guilty in the court of public opinion. I feel like a lot. Same thing with
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. With Johnny Depp, it was up to him to
Hmm.
like prove that, and it ended up being like he was really not the villain here.
Yep.
Coming back to this, so she wanted like her own wardrobe, and she started like threatening them that she wasn't going to continue with the movie if she didn't get like her own people, and if she wanted for like the wardrobe to come to her house instead of her going to the wardrobe area, and that's like budget stuff that's not really accounted for.
And
And
shall I add too? She forced them to take the whole wardrobe, a whole warehouse of like 20 racks of clothes,
mhm,
6 blocks
to her apartment
to
or
her
her
apartment.
penthouse or whatever. And
She could not walk 2 blocks or 6 blocks.
and then um from what I understood, she started trying to take control of like the
Yo,
direction of the movie.
yo,
She tried to be the director. And so it ended up being where this Justin fella was making his own movie while she was editing her own movie. So they had like two different movies of the same movie. And she started working with the dude who made Wolverine and Deadpool, like the editor of that one. And he started directing his own movie, Justin. And they brought it up to like a an opinion thing, like voted who would vote for the movie, and it ended up being that the audience voted for Justin's movie, and she still didn't give in. She's like, if y'all don't play my movie, then I'm gonna whatever. I don't know what she said, but she threatened them.
yeah, she
And
threatened
then
them.
she also, what else did she do? She was like a menace this whole time.
Yo, yeah.
She had Ryan Reynolds show up and like
But
berate this Justin fella because
there's so
Ryan
much about.
Reynolds thought that Justin was calling her overweight or that was making fun of her. I don't know. She called her
Yeah.
fat or whatever. And I kind of feel like that's all I can remember tonight.
Okay, yeah, because you're saying a lot. But yeah, good recap situation on the situation.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, 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 hold on. And there was this rooftop scene at the beginning of the movie that's kind of like one
yeah,
of the most important scenes. And
yeah.
she had Ryan Reynolds redo the whole scene and direct it, and he wasn't even under contract. And Blake Lively wasn't even under contract to do any sort of direction. She was just the head actress, and she started inserting herself in all kinds of shit. Go ahead, Tasha.
Yeah, facts. Um, yeah, so yeah, you glossed over like a good chunk of it for sure. Yeah, it's just the whole situation is so crazy. It's so fucked up. So to start, yeah, at the beginning, I pulled it up already here. So when you were saying
Oh, she
it
brought the
started,
document. Let's go.
yeah,
Zoom in a little if you can. Zoom in.
if I can, I have
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah.
There we go.
So this is literally the first page of the whole document. So it starts in like 2019. So this is when he's in contact with the author, right? Like asking to do this book, like he's expressing his interest, like he has a passion for it, he loves the messaging, he wants to share it, blah blah blah, right? And then there's even the proof of the author like telling him that he should make the movie. And then she also later does say that she also suggests that he should play the main role. So it's not like he directed this and purposely put him in the role. Like he was asked to do it essentially and he accepted, you know, because the thing is his character, the role of it is definitely like it's a dark, like he's the one that's supposed to be doing like the abuse, right? So like not many people want to be portrayed in that.
Yeah, he's the villain.
Yeah. So it's definitely difficult to cast somebody in that position
Hey,
when
Todd,
like
this
yeah,
this lawsuit, what is the claim? Like, what exactly are we suing for?
there's so many. I don't know what the latest is, but basically it's just like she is really mad because she's claiming that he's slandering her name and like telling like the press all these lies and all of that. So she's basically coming at him about all of that. And then basically he's just coming back and he dropped this whole page online on a website. It's only these two files and he just dropped all of his receipts and was like, oh, this is the truth. Like she can come at me like I have nothing to hide. And it's insane. And like the details of his receipts are so insane. Like he's even posted emails and chats, like texts that she's posted to both social, like to tabloids and also in her lawsuit, where you can clearly see that she made the edits in her lawsuit and he drops like the full on like unedited, giving the full context of what she was claiming and
So
editing and making him
she's
look bad.
forging documents, like she's editing.
Literally, yeah,
Really?
she's released so many screenshots of texts and emails, and he's in this document here, like it goes into detail and it shows you exactly what parts she's cut out and edited. There's even parts where she's like editing out emojis because they soften like some kind, like you know, like it goes into thorough detail about everything. And it's
Before this lawsuit, how did you feel about Blake Lively before this?
See, that's the thing. Like, I've never really been much of a fan. Like, it's not the fan or not. It's just I've never really watched much of her stuff. The only thing that I could think of that was big that I've watched of her is Gossip Girl, because she was the main character in Gossip Girl. But I'm not gonna lie too. Like, I didn't really like her character in that show. Like, she was an annoying character, even though she was the main character. I stand with Blair and Chuck, you know. If you know, you know. I'm a Blair Chuck fan for
Yeah, I
Gossip
don't know.
Girl. So yeah.
Is
Anybody
Blake
that
Lively friends with Taylor Swift?
yeah, no, Taylor gets brought up into this. Like Taylor,
Oh
yeah,
shit! Okay,
yeah,
okay,
there's
okay.
the part when Taylor comes up because yeah, it's the whole thing. Like there's so like I'm telling you, it's 168 pages. We don't got time to go through every single one so deeply and thoroughly. But
Yeah, go through the important shit.
yeah, well, it's hard because like it's all crazy. But anyway, so to start, yeah. So Justin, he gets the rights to use this book, put it into a movie. And the author, like they have a really close relationship. They're working together. He's excited to write it. Like he started in 2019 here, right? When he got it. and he's been writing it for years, putting his script together, coming up with the ideas. He also connected in 2022, way before casting and everything, filming, about wanting to work with organizations for violent, like, you know, domestic and sexual violence and everything like that. So like he was prepared already beforehand. Like he had his clear vision of what he wanted to do and how he wanted to portray it and how he wanted to express the story and like the severity around it and like really put awareness and everything out there, right? So like he had like a strong like passion and connection and ideas and everything, right? So like he was 100% in it and excited for it. It just gets crazy. So at the end of 22 was when Blake Lively got casted, and it wasn't, I think it was announced at this time. I can't remember. It was a long, I'm telling you, this is a long thing. Yeah, so she got casted. They were just back and forth for a bit. Around this time, this comes into play later, but at this time, she introduces him to her trainer or whatever at the beginning. So like they're already like in communication. They're starting to, you know, message back and forth about getting prepared like beforehand, you know, just planning, whatnot. And yeah, it goes through all of it. So it just shows like all their texts, you know, about how excited they are for this shit. And she's excited, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is one of the things. So there was a time when she claims that he was fat shaming her. So this comes up later too. So at this time, I believe she just gave birth previously to her fourth kid. So like she's coming into this project, you know, after having a baby. So, you know, she was already aware, like she was already training and everything, trying to get her body back and everything. And then that, like, it has lots of details about like how he was like, he's like, you know, do whatever you are comfortable with. We don't care. Like you look how you want. Like it's not something that we're going to pressure you to do, whatnot. And then later on, there's like down the line, there's a scene that's included in the movie script where his character was supposed to lift her up and like spin her around or something like that. And since they shared the same trainer, because she introduced them, he asked the trainer approximately like how much does she weigh, just so that he could train, you know, like work up his weights or whatnot to help like lift her up the scene. Yeah, and I can understand like how that could be offensive. I'm not like denying that. But the thing is, the reason why he asked the trainer to begin with is because he actually has back problems, which he actually has been hospitalized in like he was hospitalized for like a week last year due to his back and had like I don't think he had surgery for it, but like he has like back issues and stuff, right? So like lifting a person, like it's not an easy task for him. So that's why like when he was training, he was just asking, you know, like what's approximately her weight so he can try to work up to it so that he can perform the scene, right? Because
the trainer snitched.
The trainer did apparently, because she found out eventually, and that's where she kind of twisted it, saying like he was fat shaming her and stuff like that. It's like I can understand in one way how, you know, it can be taken that way, but also too I can also understand from his point of view.
That's when Ryan Reynolds came in and raised hell.
Oh, yo. The parts with Ryan are so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. And the best part is, too, apparently, like, there's recorded evidence of him going at him. Like, both, like, either by witnesses being in the room or by text or by voice chat. When the trial comes out for this, I hope they, like, televise it similar to what they did with the Johnny Depp one. Because that one would be way juicier to watch. Like this one.
More than Johnny Depp trial?
100%. Yo,
really?
like Yeah, because this one you're going in, you kind of already know like all the he's literally dropped all of the receipts. So it's like you kind of already know what's going on and you kind of know what side is like truthful here and what's not. So
Oh
it's just
no.
it would be so interesting to have all of these things come up and thrown at her and have her sit there on like on the stand having to answer and try to like explain why these receipts are wrong type of thing, right?
I don't
Like
think
I
this
don't
makes it. You think this makes it to trial? I think they're gonna settle.
well that's the thing. I think they might because the trial I think is set for next year, like in the summer. Like it's set far out. So I don't know why, but I don't know why it's taking so long, but yeah, I feel like they probably would settle before then, especially if it continues to get bad. Like right now, like Blake and Ryan are not having a good time with their reputation, and I feel like it'll just
Good.
continue to get worse, right? So I think eventually they'll kind of have to be forced to do something to kind of sweep it under the rug more.
Yeah.
So apparently, even early on, though, this is like the first kind of text with Justin and Ryan Reynolds. And then this is just them, going back and forth, talking about it, how excited they are for this project to work together. Well, for Blake and Justin to work together and whatnot. It's a lot to read, obviously. I love the last part from Ryan, though. It says, I happen to adore you, Justin. So they're having a good relationship here. They're like hanging out, talking, like sharing whatnot. Yeah, like it just starts out, simple. They're just getting to know each other. They're sharing like trainers. They're sharing ideas. They're coming like they're meeting up in person to have some readings of the script, whatnot. And at this point, like Justin's basically already written the whole script at this point. Like he's just in the finales of like, trying to finish like doing any last minute changes type thing. And then they're getting ready to obviously hire the rest of the cast because they've hired now Blake and they're still in the process of hiring all of the other stars, like people, right? All the other, what do you call it? What's the word?
Co-actors, co-stars.
Yeah, all the other side characters essentially, right? So they're still in the middle of it.
I wanna interject here and ask a side question because Ryan Reynolds, it seems like, is working with Justin here, like just kind of indirectly, right? Or maybe directly, but this
working with
or because he says like I adore you, Justin, or whatever.
Yeah, so like this is more like when I was reading, I mean, this was like early on, so I read this like earlier this week. So it's basically just them like like getting to know each other, right? Like they're just talking about breaking the ice, talking about how like Blake's the sweetest, blah blah blah.
Okay, this has nothing to do with this, but I always think to myself, how does it feel knowing that like this guy that you're talking to is gonna have a hot steamy sex scene with your wife like in the movie? How does that?
Yeah,
How would you feel if Iz was an actor, right? And you were talking to the girl who's gonna be like,
all up on him, yeah. So
in a scene.
It's weird. The thing is, like, when you're an actor, like, it's your job, so you have to like learn to separate it. And I think what Ryan was trying to do here was to get to know him so that he can kind of be on the inside, to know all the details, to get to know him, to try to, slide in there. I feel like that's probably his way of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's probably, this is probably a normal thing in the actor world, right? Mm-hmm. For like, especially because the thing is, it's got to be different. It'll be different when your partner is an actor and you're not. With Ryan and Blake, they're both actors, and they both do projects.
I'm asking, like, just as a human, not even as an actor.
I mean, it's obviously uncomfortable. Like, I know you would feel the same with Janie doing stuff like this. Like, imagine Janie having to act out like a sexual scene with another guy. Like, obviously that will be like weird for you, right? Like you're gonna be a little uncomfortable by it. Like you're not probably gonna agree with it mostly, but
And
like you still want
there's
to
no win
support.
here because like if it's a good ass scene, then I'm gonna be giving them the side eye like y'all enjoy that shit a little too much. Hold up,
Yeah,
hold
right.
up.
Like, was a good day at work that day, apparently.
That's a little too good of a scene. I don't know about all
Right.
that. But
And this
yeah, I
also
always thought
kind of
about that.
this conversation also kind of ties into another one of the problems that she's brought up, the intimacy coordinator. So every movie, every show, there's always an intimacy coordinator, right? Every single, like even just a kiss has to be coordinated, and you have like a team of people that like give you the advice, give you instructions, that have to be there essentially to, to monitor it, make sure that like nothing does cross the line, in your real life, like making sure that what you're acting out is for the role, for the job, not something that's like coming out for the person, right? So like and to like also keep like safety and boundaries and all that. So that actually gets brought up here soon as well, because like at this point they're like just getting to know each other, they're just going back and forth, sharing things. Like even here, at one point she was sick. She like had a few days that she was sick, and he was like, oh, here's like my holistic coach or whatever, like a health person, like health coach that can help you with some like herbal, like I don't know, he's like into the herbal stuff or whatever. So he's like, here's their number, like it might help you feel better, like they're sharing
Resources.
connections, resources and stuff, basically. And so, at this point, like they're just going back and forth, and then there's a time when he messages her.
You're not looking at the screen, are you?
Yeah, between 60 and 90,000 for intimacy coordinators.
That's how much they get paid.
Yeah, that's the thing. They get paid pretty well, yeah. I know, right? And could you imagine your job is just to sit there and to monitor? You're basically like a porn director, making sure that it doesn't go too far. Yeah, you're a porn director, but you're like, there's no porn happening here. It's like the anti-porn
That's
director.
like when you've reached like when you're past your prime in the porn world. That's like the secondary job that you take when you get old.
Yeah, you learn
You
what's
become
the porn, so you know where the line is to draw.
yeah.
Yeah. So then at one point here, like, into they're going into it, that's when obviously Justin hires the intimacy coordinator for the movie. So this person isn't just for like them, it's also because in the movie it's them as the main character, but then there's also two I don't know how old they are, like kids basically, that are acting out as like the main characters as kids, essentially.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
like flashback scenes.
The younger version of them.
Yeah, the younger version. So this person that he's hiring isn't just for obviously him and Blake to work with, but it's also for like the kids to work with as well, right? So it's like for the whole scene. So he hires this person and then tells her, like sends her a message being like, we're gonna meet with this person soon, right? Go over everything, go over like the script, figure out how it's gonna work, what's gonna go on and all that. And she declined to meet them. Like she flat out declined. Yeah. So he even provides like full on screenshots and everything of their text between each other. So she didn't want to meet the person at first or whatnot, which is whatever. But this comes back later on. Well, I guess I'll just jump because we'll jump all over the place this whole time. But so he hires this person, right? She declines to meet him right away, like saying like we'll meet them on set essentially. And then later on, my mind just went. And then later on, she said she felt uncomfortable or whatever with it. She missed another meeting with them. And so Justin was forced to go to the meeting with this coordinator by himself. And he took notes for her because she obviously missed it. It's an important thing that they're preparing for. Now, I did see the page. Like, there was a photo of the notes. It is a little crazy, the notes. I can see how it can be taken out of context when it's just the photo of the notes posted, which is what she did. But what happened with the notes is he took them, just for his reference, but also so he can communicate to her then, since she missed the meeting, as to like what they discussed and what the coordinator suggested, like what they could do to make it look kind of realistic and how they can bring it to life, essentially, as to what they are envisioning, right? And yeah, so she posted it as like her proof that he's creepy, because like you can see like it's like a page, like 2 pages of a book, and like you just see the word like orgasm so loud, like across like one spot, and like you see like all these like crazy like statements or whatnot, right, of like sexual acts and stuff with comments. And like when she posted it, she was like, this is him being creepy, like being inappropriate. But like,
what was the start of all this? Like, why was she trying to tarnish him? Like, who started it and why?
She did. And she started it basically before they even started filming, which is crazy. And I don't understand really why she started it, but I can see her goal, and her goal was to take over.
Okay, she wanted like full credit for the movie or whatever.
Yeah, she wanted a lot of things, and like he tried for the first while to stop, but then at one point he gave up because it became a lot, because she kept piling things onto him and putting out statements, like, putting out that photo of the notes out with no context and being like, see, he's a creep. And then like people in the world were like, oh my God, he's such a creep. Yeah. Without any context behind it, not realizing that,
like me.
Yeah, like this was him trying to communicate to her what the intimacy coordinator was communicating and what they were supposed to meet for, but she was the one that declined to meet. And there's the proof that she wasn't interested in meeting with this person. So, it's just the context, like both sides can be a little meh with situate, like, it's hard to pick and choose, but like when you get the full context and the full story like this, like it's pretty clear to see, especially when you compare what her team is putting out there and their legal documents versus what he's putting out. Like you can really see the difference, and you can really see her side with the editing and how they're purposely twisting everything and like taking things out and rewriting it how they want it to be seen and perceived. Whereas he's just like, literally like screenshot, here you go, here's everything. Yeah. So here's the rooftop scene. So they met together like still before, like this is all before filming too. Like they haven't even started filming at this point yet. So they meet up together and talk about this rooftop scene, which is like a big deal scene, I guess, in the book. I never actually read the book, so I don't really know much about the actual book itself. But they meet up, she wants to have a conversation, like look at the scene, whatnot. And
you have seen the movie, right?
I just saw it this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I just seen it. But this is where she starts to put her notes in, where she's like, she asks if she can, help write some dialogue for it. She wanted to put her voice into it. She's here, like literally there was a text, so many texts from her where she says weird shit like this, like flirty and yummy. Like, yeah. Like that's a weird thing to text somebody, especially like your director and co-actor or whatever. Co-star. So co-star. Yeah, co-star, that's it. So like at the time, like they're both excited for this project, so he was excited to like have her input and everything. So like at this time, he's excited to take all of her input. Yeah, like their messages are. I read through some of their message, and the weird thing is the time that they're messaging each other is like 2 a.m. I'm like, bro, like aren't you supposed to be in bed next to Ryan and you're texting these weird like, flirty and yummy text to your director?
That's not true because you be texting me some dumbass shit like at 4 a.m, like
Okay, but
some memes and shit.
but I'm sending you like dumbass memes, like of like the one I sent you yesterday of somebody like building Lego.
Yeah.
When I said like this is me, like that's different. That's like me making fun of myself for shit. That's not me saying weird shit like this to you.
Yeah.
So like that's different. Yeah, like it's just the whole thing is weird. So anyways, like, she was writing stuff, sending him messages, being like, what do you think of my work, type of thing, whatnot. And at this time too, he was going to her apartment often. Like they were going back and forth, like meeting up at her home. And Ryan was there the whole time. They were talking about the rooftop scene, blah, blah, blah. Just discussing it with like nothing major, nothing crazy. At this point, Ryan wasn't really involved. He was just kind of there, when they were meeting, he was just kind of in the house. At this point, he wasn't actually inputting anything. He was just kind of there. Later on, though, he becomes way more involved, right? Which is weird because I'm like, why are you even getting involved? Like, I can understand, like, it's your partner that's in it, but like, as an actor, like you're an actor in the world. At this time, he's also like filming and directing his Deadpool movie that just came out at the same time, right? So it's like, don't you have your own shit to focus on? Why are you also putting your energy in another movie at the same time? I don't know. I just thought it was weird how he was like interjecting himself into this instead of just letting, Blake have her own movie. I don't know. It's like if Zat was working on a movie and I had a movie at the same time, like I wouldn't really inject myself into his shit, I would maybe ask.
I don't know. I could see that happening because
like I could ask about it, like be like, oh, how was your day? Like, what did you do? But like not be like, like, oh, like I'm gonna come in there and demand that they do this,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, and so this is still like way before filming even. They're always just meeting, going back and forth about it. Blake gets sick a couple of times, the health coach, blah, blah, blah stuff. Yeah, and she just keeps sending him script. Like this, like when I tell you this is in detail, like it's literally going like April 12th, April 13th, like April 14th. Like this is like hardly anything. Oh, this one is interesting too. Because this is where Taylor comes in. So they're talking about changing some dialogue or whatnot. Like she wants to change it for scenes with her character and then her character's mom, trying to do notes or whatnot about it. And then they meet up in person again at the house, and Blake described, like she says that she brought her dragons into this meeting, and there's actually an interview that she did where she actually even mentioned this. Like she even like admitted to this, which is crazy. Like she's admitted to a lot of weird shit, and it's crazy. So they're having a meeting, and basically she's kind of putting her input in, saying like, I want it to be like this, and then she brings in Ryan and her dragon, which everybody at this point already knows is Taylor Swift, into the room to convince him that what she's writing is better. So basically she's using her husband Ryan, and now she's bringing in Taylor to tell him how what she's writing and adding to the script is better and that he should accept it and do it. Like she's using Taylor as her hype man at this point, which is crazy. It is so crazy because, like, yeah, like the presence of Ryan and a mega celebrity friend, like trying
Why
to
can't
like
they use her name instead of mega
they,
celebrity?
they do later, but this is like quoted from her, right?
Oh.
So this is like quoted stuff from her and whatnot. So and this is where that voice note, because there was a voice note that recently came out like a month ago from him that a lot of people were saying was creepy because it was out of context and it was like sent in the middle of the night, which again, like why are they texting each other at like 2 a.m.? Because it's weird. Especially when you spend like all day together in meetings and like pre stuff or whatnot, like getting ready for the movie. Like, why are you still texting each other in the middle of the night? Like you're off work, you know, it's weird. So
Shout out D in the building. What's up, D?
Oh, D. Oh my God. I hope you enjoyed the museum the other day and we'll go back soon. Anyways, back on track. So after that meeting, like he felt uncomfortable, right? Because obviously he was being intimidated to like list like, you know, whatnot, like having Taylor show up, you know, and kind of be like, you know, Blake's script is the best option here. He sent a voice note, you know, expressing apologies for not being sensitive, about her notes, whatnot, saying that she's lucky to have her husband and friends as supporters, blah, 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 you know, just like kind of sucking up in a way of being like, you know, like, let's collab better. Like, you know, I didn't mean no harm. Like, you know, he's a director and he's also acting in it, but like he's a director. So he gets the final say essentially. So it's like, it's weird that he was like kind of
at what point do you like, I'm the director here, like calm
exactly
down?
like that's the thing. Like he was kind of like at this time, I think he was just so excited to work with her and excited to actually just work on this project, right? Because he's had at this time it's 2023. He's got the movie rights for the past 4 years now, right? So he's been already working on this behind the scenes for 4 years before they even casted her and brought her in, right? So like he's probably just more excited to actually start the process, right? At this point. So he's like, you know what? You want to add some input? Sure. Okay. Like, I'm sorry. I'll accept some input, you know, whatnot. Like, let's get this going. Don't want to start any drama. We haven't even started filming, right? So it's like, sure. You know, I think that's kind of where he was at this point. So then, yeah, they were just going back and forth more about all this. And then they started announcing other castmates. So this is kind of because the movie's like a triangle, almost like a love triangle in a way. So this is when they casted like, I guess, the third main lead guy in the movie and whatnot. So it was like a bigger deal at this point. And yeah. And at this point, I love this guy. So Justin, he works for this company. I can't remember the name of Wayfair or something like that, like the movie production company that he works for.
Wayfair.
Yeah. But the other producer on the movie, his name's Jamie Heath. I don't know. I find he's a badass. Like I like him because he's always like, "What the fuck is going on? Like somebody needs to stop this bitch!" Like the whole time. Like he's always like, "What the fuck's going on? Like you need to say no." So like I love his messages because he's always like, "What the fuck," and he's always so to the point and so exact with his like. I don't know. I like this guy from what I've read about him. I don't know. I'm like, this is a good guy to have on your team. Like Justin was lucky to have this guy on his team as a producer.
Tell you like it is.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, like they haven't even started filming. They're still in the midst of like announcing cast. And at this time, like Jamie already is messaging the other producers and everybody being like, you know, there's concerns about Blake's influence over this movie. Like she's already like kind of demanding things, right? She's already like trying to put her input in. She's already trying to make changes. Like what's going on? Like this is already like a little concerning. We haven't even started filming yet and she's already like giving notes and everything, right? Oh, this is exactly what I was telling you about earlier with the whole intimacy coordinator So she obviously didn't show up for it. And the most important thing too is the intimacy coordinator was a woman to help craft the sex scenes, because it was obviously the book is for a female audience and whatnot, but he also wanted to make sure that his her and then the kids felt safe, with a female more than a male, right? So like he was doing that, and then he met with them, obviously took the notes, and like what I said, like some of the comments on the page were a little crazy, out of context. Like it was a little crazy, right? If you just see a page like this,
they're a little small on the screen. Can you read them out?
Sure. I can. Do you know what's even better? I can show you the picture that went around. And I love how like he even dated it. Like, could you imagine showing up to your meeting with your intimacy coordinator, opening your book and writing the date? Be like, okay, let's start. So yeah, so like, this is the notebook, that the photos that she put out, being like, he's a creep. Like, he sent this to me. That's basically what she said. It was like, he just sent this to me for no reason. Like, he's being
dirty.
Yeah, and it's like, this is notes that he took during the meeting that she was supposed to be a part of, but she declined to be there for like who knows why. And yeah, again, coming back to what I said earlier about him lifting her up, right? Because his character is supposed to lift her character up at one point, and the trainer that they share here, he asked about her weight so that he could train his back, for the scene, because he has injuries with his spine. Yeah, it's discs with his spine. So he I feel like that's a valid reason. You have some spinal issues, and you need to lift her up in a scene. You want to prepare for that. I don't think that's a problem necessarily. It could have came off weird when he asked for it or whatnot. I could understand that. But yeah, this is what she used, saying that this scene, she said this didn't exist. She claimed that, he was fat shaming her, and so that the scene never existed and that there was no evidence. And yet and then he included the evidence of the scene, specifically says where he scoops her up as a character.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, how do we know he didn't just type that up and put it there?
Everything was dated and everything. There was a whole in the other document, because this is only one of them. In the other document, it shows everything with the references and everything. This is just like part 2, essentially, to the main lawsuit. This is like a part 2 timeline, because they have the main lawsuit and then they have the timeline of the events, and everything in the timeline is referenced and like authorized in the main one. So all these pictures and stuff in this one has already been approved and everything from the first one. These are just essentially copied over in more detail timeline wise, with like more context added on top. So yeah, so this has already been like approved and everything. And this is where it starts to go crazy. So then after this whole situation, right, I love how they word this. He's summoned to her house and greeted by Ryan, who accused him of fat shaming. And like the quotes here, it's like, how dare you, like whatnot. And this is apparently when it first became aggressive between Justin and Ryan with Blake there. Like, could you imagine like being invited to their house and then just having him come at you and yell at you?
Yeah.
Like that, the intimidation level. Like, this is he's the director of the movie that your wife is acting in, and you're out here threatening him and yelling at him for things that are a little out of context. That like, why are you even like? If you have a problem, bring an HR person in, and actually sit down and be like, well, these are the things that are happening. Like, let's find a solution here. Not like, what are you doing? Like, you're making this environment hostile already, and you haven't even begun filming. It's not even.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering why he even like entertained the berating. If I'm walking in somebody's house and they're screaming at me, you better believe I'm gonna turn around and walk right back the fuck out. Like I'm not
Well,
gonna
I think,
subject myself
yeah,
to
well, I think he was just intimidated, right? Because it's Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and you're in their
shit.
house. Like,
So
I feel like, yeah, I know, but I feel like in that situation, like for him, it's kind of like a what the fuck moment. So I feel like I don't
and
know.
then he apologized to make matters even worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing. It's like, and the weirdest thing too is like you haven't even started filming yet, and you're already upset at the director for these claims. Why are you not trying to convince your wife to just drop out and be like, is it really worth filming a movie at this point with this person if the work environment's gonna be like this? Like why are you agreeing? Why are you allowing this to happen? You know, like that's the thing that I don't understand. It's like you were already mad at him about this stuff beforehand. Why are you letting your wife go through this then? Why are you not trying to pull her out of it and tell her she can find another job at another like thing, right? So like that's the thing. I'm like, why? Why go through all of this? Yeah. So basically, yeah, this goes further into detail here, saying like her complaint, saying the scene wasn't even filmed. You know, all the things, whatnot, blah blah blah. It's just a lot. It goes along. We're only on page 17, dude. this thing goes crazy. Okay, and getting to the wardrobe. Okay, so meeting with the wardrobe people. So she starts complaining about the wardrobe because she didn't like it. And they had a budget of like, could you imagine a budget of $615,000
For wardrobe.
for wardrobe only? And then she more than tripled that for the budget, which is insane. And she complained about it, saying she didn't like it, she didn't want it, and she ended up taking over to the point where she was just pulling her own clothes from her closet to say that her own closet was better than what these professional people could do for her, essentially. And then she was using that as like a way to spin it around, being like, you know, the team sucked so much that I had to just go to my own closet and get clothes. But that was a choice she made. It's not like she was like resorted to it because what she was offered was terrible and there was no other way around it. She literally like rejected them and did that herself willingly. But then she spun it later saying it was a bad thing. And the best part is too, like her clothes, like her outfits and wardrobe that she put together were terrible. And she got roasted online for it because I remember it comes up later, but it was like one of the first 2 days of filming. And there was a paparazzi photo of her like in the middle of filming with one of these outfits, and it went around online and people were roasting the fuck out of it, being like, what is she wearing? Like, and the thing is, I never read the book, but like I've read into like the character of the book essentially, and what she's wearing is nothing like it. Like the character is like a florist who wears like little sundresses and like some like very simple cute clothes, whereas when you look at her outfits that she puts together, you're like, it looks like a 3-year-old just got dressed in the most
Yeah, and at
random.
one point she was trying to wear like $5,000 shoes that completely like didn't coincide with what the
Yeah,
movie. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like
like
her
it
character, like just opened a floral shop. She doesn't have a lot of money, you know. Like she's just trying to make her way in this life, and yet she's wearing like these Louis Vuitton heels in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't like for the character. It's basically she was dressing for herself, not for the character, and even for herself, it was crazy.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all. So yeah, they were going back and forth, still doing script, whatnot, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, and then the Writers Guild went on strike at one point here. I can't remember when approximately it happens, but it happened at some point.
That was the
Oh,
summer 2 years ago. Summer of
yeah. So
20.
okay, so this was right before the Writer Guild. I think this is when they start.
Because I remember Comic Con was at that time.
Yeah, I can't remember where it starts filming. Should say day one. Should be around here that they start filming because um the schedule is here. So like we're getting closer and closer obviously to schedule, like to starting to film. And then there was a thing too where she claimed that there was she felt uncomfortable from jokes being made or whatnot, and she felt like people weren't being serious and professional. So he put together like a respect in a workplace meeting for like the team or whatnot, right, to go over, and it was on the schedule, like on their actual schedule, and she never showed up for that. So like, you know, he was putting it out there, like trying to like find solutions for her little complaints, you know, and he was scheduling it in between their whole ass schedules and everything, making sure that he can cater to what she's complaining about and whatnot, but still, you know, get the show rolling and start shooting.
That might have been the problem. He like overly catered to her to the point where she just took complete control.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what happened. Like at first, like he was willing to collaborate and like work together, and like he was just excited in general to do this, right? And he was like, yeah, like give me some input, sure. You know, let's, and she was also expressing so much excitement and like joy to do this and to input and to collab and to be a part of the project. So I think at the start, they were both so excited that he saw her excitement and thought they shared the same level of, I don't know, like the same, I don't know how to word it.
Passion, I guess. Same level of
passion, but also like he figured as her being like a high celebrity, like a high actress that has done this for like 20 years acting, that she would have a respect enough for him being a, you know, director and know where the line is, right? So yes, she kept walking over him to the point where like it got to this point where it's like he's literally having to like forcefully cater to everything she does now just to appease her so that nothing goes wrong, right?
that sounds like this our podcast. Like I used to come up with all the titles and stuff, and then you would try to put your input, and all of a sudden you're creating all the titles and reposting, and you took over because I gave in too much.
Okay, sure. I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it so much. I believe it.
Like moving right along.
Yeah. So they're starting the shooting. She calls in sick, basically. So they're scheduled to go to Vegas to shoot like some scenes or whatnot. And I'll mention this, like the scenes that were supposed to be there were supposed to be some sexual scenes that were filmed there for like a Vegas trip or whatever, part of the book or whatnot. And she called in sick, basically. So then they had to like, and this is the thing, like when you're on a film shoot, like everything is scheduled out, everything is budgeted out. So when you have to like change locations or like, you know, stop production, like that costs a lot of money. Like a lot of money. So the fact that like they already booked out like places in Vegas for shooting, got the like, you know, got the permits to do all this and whatnot, and then she just calls in basically saying she can't go for a whole trip, you know, like it's kind of like a bitch ass move type of thing. That's kind of like, you know, you signed up for this, you need to kind of bring your ass here and do this. Like this is part of the
bring
job.
Your stick ass over here and shoot this motherfucking scene.
Right? We paid for it. Like, yeah, like I could understand if it was like something like COVID, you know, or like something like actually like deeply sick, you know, I can understand. But like the fact, like this isn't even the first time she did this. Like she's done this like multiple times throughout the whole filming. So it's like that's when it's like,
do you think this is going to affect her in the future? Like her future opportunities?
I think so. I think this is like gonna be like the final straw because I see like there's lots of videos now coming up from her previous interviews, even interviews from when she was doing Gossip Girl back in like the early 2000s. Like where you can see little things of her being like a difficult person to work with on set and being a bitch to other castmates. And like there's a lot of videos now resurfacing with all of these like little things. Like I saw a recent one that I'll bring up later that just came out basically of her bragging that she comes onto these projects as an actress so that she could purposely take over.
Damn.
You know, yeah, and she admits it on TV in an interview. Like that's what I mean. Like these things are coming out, showing like her true side of it, like how she is and what she wants and her goals and stuff, right? So it's like I think at this point, like with everything piling up and with all these receipts and everything coming out, it's like it's starting to like connect, and a lot of people are starting to see a different side of her. And there's a lot of people now behind the scenes that have worked with her, as like cameramen or whatever, behind the scenes crew that are actually now coming out being like, yeah, she's like a terrible person behind the scenes. Like they've always been silenced and scared of her. And now because Justin brought this out and is not scared of her now, a lot of people are now coming out and being like, yeah, like she's a little crazy. And then it's also crazier too that she's wrapped Ryan into this, and I think it's going to take a negative toll on Ryan as well for his future as well. So they had to cancel like a whole Vegas trip. They didn't actually reschedule for the Vegas, so they had to actually cut out that whole part of the script because they couldn't actually get the production to go back in time and whatnot, and it was a whole ordeal. So
was that a bitch ass move?
I mean, it was a bitch ass move on her part, but like it's like, yeah, at this time, like that's when Justin's like, okay, like as the director, like he had to cut out a whole part of the movie, right? So now he has to go and kind of work around it and rewrite and find other solutions, right? So like he's still trying to figure out everything. He's still trying to be nice to her, sending messages back and forth, trying to stay on a good positive side. At this time too, he's also keeping in contact with all the organizations for like domestic violence and everything, letting them know details and whatnot. First day of filming. Yeah. So this is the one I was saying that that the photo came out of her on set. Like this outfit is just.
But how do people know to criticize her if they don't know what they're shooting? Like they don't know what the movie's about.
No, they already knew because it was already announced that she's filming this movie, right? It's already public knowledge that she's the lead actress in this movie. And the thing with this is it's a book. It's a book franchise. So like the book franchise people, they go hard. Like they're very passionate about the books, right? So like when they have a movie come out, they want it to be like exact, right? Like it's no different than all the other, 50 Shades, Twilight, like all that shit, right? So
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, exactly. So when this came out, like the roast of it, like all the actual fans of the book came out when they're like, this isn't what the main character looks like. Like this isn't her, essentially. Like what is she wearing? Like she's supposed to be in like a basic t-shirt and jeans. Like what is this outfit type of thing, right? And like I actually went through the Reddit for fun just to see. The comments are crazy. It's hilarious. But there was one here basically
read those because they appear really tiny on the screen. So can you read them?
Yeah. So one's like, I never pictured her this homely. They made Blake look older than she actually is. She's supposed to be playing younger. She looks like Mary Poppins mixed with a homeless lady, and she doesn't even seem to like dazzle like the book Lily does. What the fuck is this outfit? It's hideous. It would be hideous in any movie. This one made me laugh. Mom, I want Carrie Bradshaw home. or I want Carrie Bradshaw. Mom, we have Carrie Bradshaw at home. The Carrie Bradshaw at home, like from Sex and the City or whatnot. So like, you know, yeah. So yeah, as soon as this came out, like this was like the first or second day of filming, and it was already widespread. Like everybody, the picture got leaked, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what are you doing?" And then it was instantly like on the Daily Mail or whatever it was. And then this is when Justin, he was upset because like all of a sudden, like it's day one of filming and they're already getting negative press. So it says that he was crying in her dressing room because he went to go talk to her about his concerns with the wardrobe. And I guess he was upset about it. I was crying. I don't know. I think that's weird. But yeah, he even said he texted the Jamie guy that I love. He texted him before even going into her trailer to talk to her about this, that he was terrified to like talk to her about this. But it needed to be done essentially, right? So like, you know, as a director, like obviously like day one and you're already having like what's the word? Like media negativity around your movie, like that's not a good look. So like as a director, like obviously he had to kind of make a tough decision and be like, oh, the wardrobe, there's something wrong with it. So basically though, he goes and talks to her and she doesn't do anything. Like she's just like, you know, I'm just gonna wear what I want to wear. And he kind of had to deal with it, which is the crazy thing. Like he went to go meet with her about it and like talk to her, but she basically like threw him off, like, you know, I'm not changing nothing. Like I'm yeah, I don't understand. And then so forth, they're still filming. Yeah, they're sending like the texts. That's the thing. Going through, the texts are weird. Like she continues to talk to him about the wardrobe choices. She wanted to be much sexier. And yeah, she keeps saying the word sexy, both in person and over text, to describe the character of the book, even though the character in the book isn't supposed to be sexy. And the weird thing is, obviously, they're both like late 30s for age. In the book, they're supposed to be like 21, you know? So it's already like weird for the age gap, because in the book, it's supposed to be like a younger, you know, early adult. Whereas in the movie, like they're obviously older. And then she was saying that she wanted to make the character sexier. So it's like, and that's where people were like, what is going on? And is this the scene? I think this is the scene. So yeah, like they're just still doing more, like I think this is like within the first week of filming. This is kind of the first first intimate filming day. She was the one that was initiating the kissing. And it was just kissing though, from what I'm aware of for these scenes. It wasn't anything further. It was just like kind of like innocent type of thing. But no coordinator was on set that day. I can't remember the exact reasoning why. Oh, because there was no nudity or sex, so then they didn't need anybody on set for that. Technically, it was just a kiss. But she later complains about that. Oh my god. So this part too, she made a complaint because he's a director. So obviously he has a lot of say as to what like who gets hired on for cast and whatnot, right? Like he has a say in the decision and like can suggest and whatnot. He did hire a good friend of his to be one of the doctors. The thing is, yeah, it's his friend and it is a little weird, but also too, like this friend is a trained actor himself, and like he's been in many other movies and whatnot, you know, like he's a professional. So like, yeah, he was kind of hired in as like a friend of the director, but also too, like, he is an actor himself, so whatever. Like, they were just doing a favor or whatnot. It's no different than the fact that Blake also forced him to hire her sister as an extra in the show. So it's like they both were doing the same shit. You know, they both were hiring family and friends into this movie. So it's like it's a common thing to have, like, especially most movies, they do that where you throw your friends and families into like background characters and whatnot, right? That's a normal thing in Hollywood. So like so she complained because she felt uncomfortable apparently that he was hiring a friend to be like the doctor during like a birthing scene. However, it is confirmed that they were never on set together. Like they were up close shots filmed of that scene, and they were shot on different days, and it was her up close shots, and then like another day it was him, like up close shots. So, and they've have like confirmation of like even payroll confirmation that like they weren't ever on set together. But she put out the claim that they filmed the scenes together, and she felt really uncomfortable having like like Justin's good friend be the OBYN, like doing the birthing scene for her. So like it's like these, like, it's the thing, like she keeps putting out all of these like things, like all these claims and whatnot of how she felt uncomfortable during all these filming moments, and she put them out like last year, and like, you know, like it was like closer to like November, December when she started putting them out, with no context. She just kept saying like, you know, he's doing all of these weird things, like I felt uncomfortable, like here's a page of the notes he gave me with no context behind it, you know, like he's a creep. But then as they're like digging into it further, it's like, okay, well, like when you start adding the actual context in here and like getting the proof, like they never filmed together. Why are you putting out these claims? Like, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is,
she probably didn't think she would be fact checked.
That's 100%. I think she thought she was like intimidating enough and was powerful enough. And she thought she was going to gain more power even as this goes on. Like she starts to really take over the roles, right? So she thought she could keep it all under wraps. And that even comes up too when the movie actually drops, like way later. So like, yeah, she thought none of this would come out, but now it's coming out. So I think she's going to be in panic mode, which is why I'm kind of excited to see how this whole lawsuit plays out with her, because I want to watch her get all of these receipts thrown at her. Like, okay, Steve wasn't even on set during your birthing scene. So like,
what are you talking about?
What made you uncomfortable then if he wasn't even there and we have proof? Like, why did you claim this, right? Like, these are the things that I want to watch her try to answer and struggle with, because I'm like, yeah, why did you make these claims if they're not true and they can prove it? And that's why I'm
I promise you they're going to settle. She does not want this.
That's what I mean. Like, the trial is set for next year. So like it's a whole year out. So like I don't know what's gonna happen this year. Like I think more things, like he's just gonna keep throwing more things out, right?
But
like,
I think if I were Justin, like out of principle, like I wouldn't settle. Like I would be like, nah, I don't want to settle. I want to take this to court.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like she's literally trying to ruin his life.
Yeah.
Like ruin like his entire credibility in the whole industry.
Even if I lose more, even if I make less money off of the settlement, the judgment, I'd rather go to a judgment so the public can see, you know,
that you were in the right, that you didn't do anything wrong, that like literally all the allegations against you were false. 100% agree with you, and I hope he does get that eventually here, because yeah, a lot of these things that have been thrown at him is just wild. I'm trying to scroll through really fast, but they're like, yeah, filming, like this is within the first week. Oh my god, the video. Oh god. So Jamie, my favorite dude, the producer, Yeah, Jamie, my home dude. They were talking about the birthing scene and everything or whatnot, right? Jamie has a wife that they filmed their child's birth. Like it was a home birth or whatnot, and he had the video, and like his wife even was okay with him showing the video as educational purposes, not showing the birthing, but like some before and after the birth, like not the actual moment, right? So like she was okay with like him using that as like some educational whatnot, right? Or just like as examples, whatnot. I don't know, just part of like whatnot. So
Like
he offered,
reference material.
yeah. So like he offered to share the video, you know, with like Blake, because they were discussing the scenes together and whatnot, like the three of them. And at first she said okay, and she looked like she started watching the video, and it like she got a few seconds in and then turned it off and said she didn't want to watch it. Yeah, she only saw it like the first second or whatever before she said like, so what the fuck is, like, no, I don't want to watch this type of thing. Yeah, because like in the video it says like it begins with the cry of a baby, so like this is already after, so it's like it wasn't anything crazy like imagery. It was just like an innocent like family video or whatnot about it. But she later claims that they were trying to show her porn. That's what she said. Like there was so many news articles and in her one legal statement saying that they were trying to show her like porn videos.
A video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart.
Yeah.
Characterize it as pornography. Baby, as pornography is perverse.
Yeah. And like they gave permission to like obviously share a screenshot of the video. So like this is how the video started. So it's like it's supposed to be like a family, like, you know, like a new family kind of video, whatever. I don't know the context. I can't remember the full context behind it, why, but like, you know, it was just a part of it, you know, and she blew it way out of the water, no pun intended. That this is a pornography video apparently. And the thing is, she even said like she didn't even ask to watch it, but they asked if she wanted to see it, and she even like she's like, yeah. And then as soon as it started, that's when she's like, okay, I don't want to watch the rest of this type of thing. And she said that they forced her to watch it, even though they asked if she wanted to. Oh, this is my favorite one too. So they were filming this one scene. It's supposed to be a montage scene of them like at a club or whatever, just like dancing around people, singing, whatnot, you know, just like montage type of things. So they were filming it, and with montage filming, like there's no dialogue, right? So like the characters are just there acting out as the characters and places or whatnot. But like usually in those scenes, like you're talking to each other normally, like you're just having like a conversation about dumb shit, you know, like how's the weather today, you know, like whatnot. So she put out a complaint saying that his behavior was like he was being creepy, and that, what was the quote she used? She said something like he was smelling up and down and licking her neck or something, like being like inappropriate. That made her feel uncomfortable or whatnot, and saying uncomfortable things, saying something specifically about her smelling good or whatnot. Like she put out this claim trying to like make him look creepy. And then a month ago, he just dropped the full 10-minute unedited video and was like, here's the proof. And it's literally, you see them, they're just dancing, talking, they're just like having like, I can't remember. She was kind of talking about Ryan or whatnot in the video for a bit. Like they were just having like regular conversation. And then at one point she brings up, because he kind of leans in a little bit, you know, because they're like slow dancing or whatnot together, and he leans in a little bit. And then she makes a comment that she has spray tan on. and that she feels like she was getting spray tan on him and that she probably smells bad from it. And he's like, no, it doesn't smell bad. It actually smells good. That was the comment that she took out of context and saying that he was being a creep. And he dropped the full unedited video of this scene.
That's crazy that he has to keep defending himself like at every angle. Like every time something pops up, he's like, here's the video or here's the proof.
Yeah. Here it is, right? That's the thing that blew me out of the water because I knew nothing about this. And then when we started looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's just receipt after receipt. He's just like, here, you want to say another thing? Here, let me go into my receipts and pull out another. Like, that's what I mean. Like, she kept saying all these crazy things, like taking everything he was doing and spinning it into her own thing. And I could not imagine being him. And just like every day being like, what's she going to say next? What do I need to search for next to release? Which is part of the reason.
I want to see this trial. I definitely want to see this trial.
Right? That's what I mean. Because I want to see her watch this video and be like, okay, so like, where was the creepiness? You're the one that brought up you smelling bad because of your spray tan, and he was just answering you back. Like that's the thing. Like, I'm like, what is going on with this whole situation? Let me try to go through this real quick though, because so yeah, like it's just a lot of it. They were going back and forth. Like the filming, like the first month, basically all of May and June 2023, they were filming. And it was just kind of like every day he was kind of tiptoeing around her. There was always like small little things here and there of her like commenting and trying to spin it her way. And then at one point, the writer's strike hit and they had picketers. Yeah, on day 13 of the shoot, and they had to stop filming. So they had to shut down filming. And then at that point, they had to shut down. But then they also got permission to restart back up and not be interrupted by the picketers because they were almost done filming. It was part of the whole, during the whole writer's strike, there was this thing where like when it started, if some movies were still filming, they had special, like they got granted special permission to not be bothered so that they can finish it up real quick, you know? And at this point, they were like very close to the end, like not very close, but like they were basically almost kind of like more than halfway a little bit. So like they got special permission like a day or two after this, after being shut down, that they could wrap it, like continue filming for a few weeks to wrap it up, right? And everybody on the team, like all the writers, like everybody agreed to it. They wanted to keep filming. They wanted to finish it and whatnot. But then she said no. She said she wasn't coming back. So basically like, yeah, they got special permission and whatnot. And he was excited because he's like, yeah, like, let's finish this. Like, let's get this going, you know, like we can work a little extra, get this done. And then they put out this, like, he even sent out like the emails to everybody being like, you know, like, we're good to go. Like, we can all return to work Monday. No problem. Like, we're going to be fine. And then she responds after being like, no, I'm not coming. Like, no. Like,
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Oh, and at the same time too, she forced him to fire the assistant director to him, like at the same time, which is crazy because it's like you're in the middle of the writer's strike and you're like forcing now your director to fire different cast or different crew.
For what reason?
Because she wanted to replace them with her own. So that was the thing. She forced him to fire the first assistant director because she wanted to replace it with somebody from Ryan's team.
By the way, Tech is in the building. What's up, Tech?
What up, Tech? Well, sorry, I haven't been reading any of these things because I have it on a different screen. Oh, what up, everybody? I'm shocked you guys are here listening to this bullshit. Um, so, so yeah, so like, you know, in the middle of like this, like, it's like the first few weeks of filming, and she's like already causing problems, demanding like to fire people and replace them with people she wants and whatnot, claiming that she's uncomfortable, but at the same time, like, you know, he's still trying to be cordial with her over text, you know, trying to be nice, you know, bringing her coffees, trying to meet up, blah blah blah, blah, like just trying to keep things smooth, you know, because he's trying to make a movie here. And then this is the crazy thing. So, you know, they've already filmed a good chunk of the movie at this point, and they're on break, obviously, because of the writers' thing. Then she starts asking him for like the dallies, which is like basically like, can I have all the files of all the scenes and stuff that we've filmed? Which is something that like when you're filming a movie, like typically actors, like the cast, don't really ever get to see that. Like they don't usually like get sent all of the clips, right? Like that's kind of like a director and editors and productions team thing that they deal with. You know, like when you go and film a shoot, you just show up, you film it. Sometimes maybe you can go and like watch what you're filming with like the people and then go back and like reshoot it type of thing. But you're not going to be like going home after work and then being sent an email of all the files, right? Like it's not something like, you know, you're not, you come, you film it, you go home.
That's
And
not
then
part of your like job description.
it's not your job description, right? You film this shit, and then you're gonna see the final product when you go and watch the movie, like on release day, essentially. So, for her to like start asking him at this point to send over all of the footage and stuff, like she wants to see it, it's already like her sneaking her way in there. And it's like, this is not your area. Like,
he's
you know,
he's letting her.
And that's the thing. Well, here's the thing. So she asks for them, and she wants to see them, see the scenes that they shot and whatnot. And then he was like, what? So he messages Jamie and the other production team being like, you know, she's asking for this. Like she wants to see this. And he even says like he fears that she wants to start to edit the movie. Like they are like, and like this is why I love Jamie, because Jamie is like, yo, like don't do this. Like what are you doing? Don't send her shit. Like she's gonna start to like edit shit and like start putting input in. Like what are you doing? Don't do it. Bad decision. But he decides to, you know, compromise and just be nice, and he sends over a 5-hour playlist first of it. Crazy shit. So like he's just trying to be nice and be like, okay, like here's a little bit, you know, you can watch a little bit, whatever. But Jamie is just like, what the fuck, dude? No, don't do that. So yeah, so they continue. It's a writer's strike, so you know they obviously are off filming for a long time. And she keeps coming at them like the whole time that they're off filming, like on their break filming, because they're on break for a long time. And she just keeps messaging them. She's getting her like assistant and her people to message his people, and like she keeps sending messages trying to find dates that she can come to his editing studio so she can sit down and watch it and like look at it and stuff. And she's pushing essentially. And
she can make it to the editing studio, but she can't make it to the wardrobe.
That's exactly right. Exactly. So like, you know, she's pushing and everything. And then also too, they do like in the middle of the break, they do have a time when some of the team comes back into shooting, and they're shooting the scenes of the younger like the kids, like the younger versions of them. So they were shooting those scenes at different locations at that time because they got the permission, whatnot. And there was no problem. Like they had the intimacy coordinators there, like everything was running smoothly. And she was also messaging him, being like, how's it going with the kids? Like, what's going on? Like, give me the details. She's like, I was like, bitch, come to work. You want the details? Come work. What are you doing? You want to know what's happening? Come to set. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah. So, yeah. And then the best part too is at this time, like they're filming and then they do like these interviews with the cast. It was like for the film's promotional campaign. So then they asked they put like the actors or whatever in like a chair or whatnot and like record or like get their experience and thoughts on the movie and whatnot. So like they have like all the things and it's all positive. Like they're all talking positive about how they love Justin. The energy is great. They can tell that he's passionate. Like, they're all comfortable together. They're very creative. Like they're really enjoying their time working on on the set and everything. And it's like from both like the boy and the girl for the kids. And like for one of them, it's their first job. So then they go into detail about like how they're excited to come into this industry and they've heard horror stories and they're like really pleased with how like the experience is going and how Justin is like very accommodating and helpful and professional and whatnot, right? So it's like going through all of this. Like the interviews are great and like all the casts that were interviewed during this time, like it was all just positivity, right? Like
even
for
Blake?
both like what?
Even Blake?
Well, no, because Blake's on her vacation. She refuses to come back to work. So like this is Justin and the cast, like the rest of the cast, basically.
Yeah.
So like, they're doing their interviews and it's all like, that's what I'm saying. Like when she's not on set and like far away, like everything is running smoothly and it's going great and it's all positivity and there's like no bad things happening and everybody is having a good time and it's everything, And yeah, it's like Lively checks in from London to send well wishes while they're filming, It's like, oh, what are you doing? Why come to work, Yeah, so this is like them finishing up the phase 1, which technically like this should have been when they wrapped up the movie in total. This shouldn't even be phase 1. This should have been the end of production. But because she fucked up and whatnot, like they have to obviously come back later. So they wrap it up like, yeah, this is what the schedule was supposed to be, but she obviously took most of June off because of the writer's strike. And yeah, like it's just at this time, the new actress, like the little kid, she sent a message to Justin that he provided here about like her experience and how she's so happy and thankful for the experience for her first film. And then she shares like a Polaroid picture that she took on set for one day with him. And, just like it's all positivity around him and like everybody likes him and everybody's having a good experience and a good time. And there's nothing bad happening when she's away, there's so much here. The matcha machine. So yeah, so he's still in communication with her. His agent and managers sent her a new shooting schedule for later. So this is like way later, like November. So they're like, I don't think that it was over the strike because I don't know how long the strike lasted, but like this was about the time when they were coming back into work now. So he sent over all the information for when she was supposed to start. She was supposed to start at the end of November. They started to book out all the places they needed to, get everything aligned and everything. And then basically she had her lawyer send over an email that had a 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that she demanded to be met before she would return.
And
So
he
she,
said yes to all of them, didn't he?
well, he like his lawyers and then the other producers, they went through, and a lot of it like is really hard to read even zooming in. Like I was zoomed in on this when I was reading it. Most of it is common sense, like it's basic shit, it's like, the intimacy coordinator must be on set, right, for like any sexual things. Yeah, agreed. That's standard, like a lot of it's like standard. So it's like, why are you writing this? Like this is already standard procedure. But there were specific ones that like their lawyers and like Sony, like their lawyers came back and were like, these, like there's a couple of them that they're like, what the fuck is this? They're like, we can agree to this, of course, but get her to explain more about this. Like, what is her, yeah, it's like, what is her goal? What is her clarification needed? Like question mark, what is she trying to like do? Like, yeah, they're just questioning like, what is the purpose of this? Like some of these things you're like being a little weird. Like the weird thing is there were three separate bullet points that she was forcing Sony to now have representatives on set for the remainder of shooting days, including closed sets, which comes up later on too. So she's basically demanding that Sony has represented like one person on set during something. She demanded that Wayfair has a producer approved by her to supervise all production and monitor safety of cast and crew. She demanded that Wayfair also had another person on set for something, for whatever. Like basically at this point too, like there were a few of them where she was forcing them to hire like 3 or 4 people basically to oversee every single thing during like all the shooting, which first of all, you're now adding like 4 new staff that need a payroll.
My question is why is any of this negotiable? Like she already signed the contract, so
At this
why is
point, at this
all the
point,
new
here's the
negotiations?
thing. Here's the best part. You want to know something? At this point, she has still refused to sign her contract, which comes up later. Like she has her contract, but she has yet to officially sign it at this point, which is crazy to me. I'm like, why did
Yeah,
you not get her to sign this when
yeah,
you
that's
hired her?
dumb.
Yeah, this is so dumb, right? Like this is the thing. This is how she got away with a lot of it, because she still never signed it officially, so she could still come at them with threats because she's not, being forced to follow rules.
That
She could
was
bend them now. So like
horrible
that, right? It
business.
was horrible on them, but apparently they were bothering her throughout the whole time to sign it. But every time she's like, oh, I'll do it later. Kind of like me with a passport, like I'll do it later. Like it'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
done.
that's horrible.
She's kind of being in
Shout
that
out
moment.
Magic in the building. What's up, Magic?
Shout out Magic. Yeah, so like, a lot of it, like, COVID like things, like safety, whatnot, like body double. Like a lot of it was very self-explanatory. That's like, yeah, like these are regular things. Like I don't understand why you need to force us to do this when this is already standard across the whole company or whatnot. But yeah, some of them it was like her forcing like the companies to hire more people to be on set during these things, so like for safety, whatnot, whatever. Like she went into reasoning why they needed to hire these people, and then later on she complained in another like complaint that she put out that every time that they were filming an intimate scene that was a closed set scene, she complained that there were so many people on set. And it's like, bitch, you demanded to have all extra people on set. This was part of your demand, that you're forcing them to hire extra people to be on set during these scenes to overwatch it and make sure things are running smoothly. And yet you complain later that there's too many people on set. And it's like, these people wouldn't have been there if you didn't force them to hire these people as your demand to even return back to finish filming the movie. That's the thing. these things are crazy to me. So yeah, like they were going back and forth with like Sony and Wayfair about like this whole list thing, and they're like what the fuck is this? Like, yeah, like we can agree to this, but like what the fuck? Like, basically saying like, ask her more into like the reasoning behind these. Like we could do it.
What are you trying to accomplish with these obvious demands? Like,
exactly, right? It's like, what is the end goal here? So she was supposed to be back in the end of November. And then they said once they approve her demands, so she'll return the first week of December. And that she also demanded that they send her the new scripts and such. And they did. But then she decided that she wasn't going to come back until January. So yeah, like they agreed to everything. And then once that was sent over with the like agreements and stuff, she came back saying, like, I'm going to return in January for work. And also too, she said like, when they sent it back to her saying like, we'll agree to this, she's like, it wasn't up for negotiation. And yeah, and it's like, what? Like, this is you demanding, like, we're telling you, like, this isn't a negotiation thing. Like, this is standard. Yeah. Yeah, she made it clear it wasn't open for negotiation. Yeah, so it was weird. Like, the whole demands to come back, and, like, most of it was the dumbest shit. So, yeah, so, like, again, like, they they booked out all of December basically for shooting and whatnot. And she again was like, I'm not coming. Like, I'm going to come in January for work. So they had to cancel shoots all over again. Like this is just a constant thing with her where, they had to just keep going back and forth and rebooking and spending so much extra money and whatnot to work on everything. Yeah. So they had to reschedule to mid-January. It's just like, I don't understand when you're anyway, so right before they go back to work, back into production, she invites him over again to his apartment to have a meeting. And it didn't go well again. Ryan was there and he was basically going back at him about everything. All the things that he's doing wrong, going at him. And this is when they forced him to hire like Ryan's directors or whatnot to be a part of it and everything. And she was reading notes that she made that were all like problems from the first part of filming. And then like he apologized again, saying like he never wanted like all of these problems to happen. He never meant any harm or whatnot. And yeah, and the thing is, they had at this time and during this meeting, they had like the three of them. They had Jamie was there, a Sony representative was there, and then I think like a what do you call it? Like a sidekick. I don't know what you call it. Like what do you call it when you have like a person that does your scheduling and shit?
Assistant?
Yeah, assistant. So they had his assistant there. It was a room full of people, right, that were there, and they were going over like plans, like over like all these things, right, together. And they witnessed Ryan yell at him. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, they were all witnesses to Ryan and Blake coming at him with all the problems and allegations against him and demands and stuff. And like, yeah, it says like everybody that left, they left shocked because they're like, what happened? Like, what just happened? Yeah, they said like, the one producer that was there in the meeting, they have a 40-year career and they've never seen anybody get spoken to like that in their life. So like,
I don't know about all that. He might have put a little extra
I mean,
cream on the taco.
yeah, it could be a little dramatic, but at the same time, like, you have witnesses and they're all agreeing to the same story, all saying the same thing happened,
Yeah.
Like it's just weird. Like it's like what? So yeah, so they agreed to this thing, and yeah, at the time it was they've only gotten that 17 demands, right? Emailed. But at the time during the meeting, like there was like she had a long list of problems. And it's like, well, you only gave us 17 problems. Like where's all this extra coming from at this point? So they went back to filming from like the month of January basically, and they were cordial the whole time. Because of all the extra people, everything ran kind of smoothly. They remained professional. They kept their boundaries, whatnot. They ended filming finally. Then this is where the whole editing situation comes in. So at this point, Blake's done filming. Filming has finished. She has done her job. She was hired as the actress for this film. She has filmed her scenes. You are done. You just need to come back now, months later, for the premiere. Walk the red carpet, be like, I was in this movie, watch this shit, go.
Tasha,
You know?
she sent him to the basement.
Yo, I know. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for him about that. Oh my god, that's where it gets. This is where it literally escalates to that point. So at this point, she should be done. Like, she even expressed how much she like was having a difficult time. You know, all these complaints about filming, right? And it's like, okay, you're not happy with all of these things that happened during filming. You're done filming. Okay, like you can move on with your life now. Like you don't need to be a part of any more process here. Like just let them finish the movie. Move on. Go find another job, right? No, this bitch keeps coming back. She immediately starts coming at them, like wanting to come in and edit with them, wanting to see more clips of it, right? And they're going back and forth. He's trying to be nice. Like so many texts of him, like between him and his editors, and it's so clear that his editors also hate the fuck out of her. And it's hilarious. Like they're also ruthless too. They're like, what the fuck? Like they just say it straight up, like what the fuck's wrong with her? But yeah, so she's basically demanding to see more and help more with the editing. She wants to be more a part of the process. And he's like, you know, right now I'm just trying to like collect all the data and kind of put them together to at least have something to be presentable, right? So he's like, just let me work on putting something together that I can show you, and then I will show it to you. Like, just give me time, right? Which is reasonable because you have like lots of little clips here. You got to actually like gather things together before you can actually like see kind of a thing happening, right? So he like that's his way of trying to push her off. Like he keeps kind of putting her off to the side for a while for the first few months, like using that as an excuse, being like, give me time to at least have something to show you, and I'll show you something. At the same time, like the editors and the producers are like, don't even show her anything. Like, don't let her involved. But yeah, it's like, well, this isn't her domain. She wasn't hired for this point. And yeah, she keeps saying like she wants to have a passenger seat in the edits and all this and whatnot. And she's like texting him all the time, asking for it, being like, who should I contact to like give me the stuff like besides you? At one point she even asks like who all has access to it, basically asking him who else has like the code to like log into this computer so that she could go to them basically and get them to give it to her, right? And so like it's weird because she was so pushy for it and like keeps going back and forth with them for a long time. And like, yeah, all the production team, like that's why I say like he had a really good team behind him because they were all like, don't give in, like don't do this, like you're giving her too much control, too much power. But at the end of the day, he kept saying like, you know, I'll just give her little bits and pieces here and there just to hopefully satisfy her enough. But, she kept pushing more and more and more. And then my favorite part, around this time, they did a special in-person like viewing. It's not like one of those like director cut viewing things. It's like, yeah, it was like an unofficial thing. And he's purposely made it like 90% female because obviously they have a demographic that they're aiming for. And so like it was just like the most basic rough cut of what they had at the time. And they had a really high score. I can't remember if he posted the score, but like a lot of people were loving it already. What they had already within the first couple months here of editing, like a lot of people were like positive feedback about it. They were liking the direction and everything. And then he tells her, like he like sends her a text about it, saying like, we had a good score and everything, and that he'll like share it with her and whatnot. And like she's still pushing, and like the editors, they're like all proud of it, obviously, like they're all like, this is like so good, like we're getting positive feedback, like what we're doing is right, like it's a good thing, things are happening. And she eventually comes and joins the editing process for a bit and spends some hours giving notes and like watching some of it and like saying, like basically saying how, giving her notes, like saying all the things that she wants to change essentially. And he listened and he's like, so like, sure. Like he takes her advice, he makes, well, from what I know, he made some changes, but his cut of the movie is different. And I want to see his cut of the movie so bad.
So whose cut was the final cut? Hers?
Hers.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The movie is all hers right now. Dang. The movie, if you watch it right now, it's her cut. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like she took over the whole thing. It's crazy. So yeah, like she gave notes. He was like, okay, whatever. Like she was supposed to be there for a few days. She only showed up for one day and she never came up. Like she never came back for like the next days. She just messaged them being like, you're doing a good job. Like that's the thing that's so stupid about it. Like throughout the whole time, she's out here hyping him up and being like, like you guys are doing like a good job. I'm excited for the like, so happy, really amazing in the film, super emotional. Like, it's all like she's excited about it. She's saying like, what you're doing is good work. Like, I don't need to be there. Like, here are my notes. That's it. Okay, sure. If it remained like that, sure. Everything would have been okay. And again, Jamie, I love Jamie, roasting the fuck out of her. Yeah, and he just keeps trying to push back at him. She keeps trying to, put in her thoughts and opinions. And then she starts, at one point, she starts to go to Sony. Like, to Sony itself, because I guess Sony is like the distributor. Wayfair is the filming company. So they're working together for the movie. But also Sony has a really good connection with Ryan, obviously, because they do a lot of shit together. So she's using her connections with Ryan and basically threatening Sony and the marketing team and all this. So she's like going to them. I guess this like way jumps farther down because most of this is so much detail that we don't have time for. But eventually she decides that she wants to do the marketing for the movie herself, which I feel like her marketing strategy for the movie was the first domino in her downfall of the whole thing. This jumps way later. But for the whole promotion of the movie last year, like what the main phrase of this movie was that she like kept saying?
What?
Like bring your flower or wear your florals and bring your girlfriends and come to the theaters, as if this is like some kind of Barbie happy movie when this is supposed to be a movie about domestic violence. And she was hyping it up, like, you know, there was so many promotional events that she was doing where they were I mean, some of, like, it was on brand, but it wasn't, she never talked about the serious stuff about the movie. She was trying to make it seem like it was a fun, happy, like, you know, this is a movie for you to bring out all your friends and come and watch and have fun. And, you know, during her whole promotional tour, she was just talking all good things about like how she's, that's the thing, like her interviews are so weird because like she's hyping up the movie, but she never mentions really anything dark about like the whole theme of it. She just says like, you know, it's weird. Like I don't know how to describe how she was describing it, but it wasn't on brand, and it was very tone deaf for like the actual message of the movie and the book itself. Like she was like way off. And at the time when she was promoting it, all the fans and people watching were like, hey, like what is going on? And the public was starting to put out all of these like news articles and stuff during that release time that like, what the fuck's she doing? Like she's promoting. Oh yeah, the best part was during the whole like 2 weeks of the promotion of the movie, she was not only promoting the movie on the carpet and stuff, but she was also promoting her own hair care brand and her alcohol brand. Out of nowhere, like she hosted a party. They were like putting flowers together. They were playing Pictionary with the cast. They were just like answering interview questions. And then she was talking about her new hair care line and her alcohol. And the whole time, like she took over the whole marketing thing and she refused to let Justin come. He wasn't at anything. Like he wasn't allowed to be a part of any of the crew or the cast, like public marketing stuff that they were doing for like interviews and stuff. And he's the main guy of the movie and the director. And she somehow at this point kept building and building up. Like I'm skipping over a lot because there's a lot here, but like we're only on page 74 out of 168. Like we don't have time. So yeah, it kept escalating to the point where like she ended up gaining access to the whole editing room for like 2-3 weeks with one of Ryan's editors, and they sat, and that's where she edited the whole movie herself and like saved the movie for herself. And then during one of the publicity like tour things that they were doing, she was there with some cast, and she brought her final cut of the movie with her and showed it to the audience without permission and without like this, like the company really knowing that she was doing this. Like she was really pushing it and like really taking over the whole thing, which is just crazy. And then she was threatening everyone, like the company, like everybody, that she, like even before this, she threatened that if they did not use her cut of the movie, that she wasn't going to promote it, that she was just going to cancel the whole thing. So that's why, like at this point, like Justin's already given up, right? Like at this point, he's already like, I'm out of here, you know? Like
Justin's dumb as hell. I gotta
right?
say, I sympathize, but like
I sympathize, but also too, he did go walk over, and he should have had a stronger backbone. But you know, he does have a back injury, so. But yeah, so like she walked over him and took over the whole thing, and it's her cut of the movie. And the best part too is they actually compared, because they did another screen test after where they used his film and her film and with a different audience and got a score. His did like 10-15% better.
Yep.
And that was supposed to be the final deciding, because like they were obviously going back and forth with so much problems and stuff with everything, that Sony and like Wayfair, they're like, whoever does the best for this, like percentage wise, we'll go with their movie. His did significantly better than hers, and she still was like,
still didn't let it go through.
Yeah, at that point, like they even said like, whoever's is final, like that's what we're doing, that's what we're rolling with. And she lost, and she was still like, no, she threatened at that point. She's like, if you use his movie, I'm gonna sue you guys because I'm not giving you the permission to use my face.
Question from the audience.
The thing is, I don't really remember too much about Amber Heard. I don't know. I feel like they're different. But yeah, so it's just like she really took over, and the fact that the day of the premiere of the movie, this is supposed to be like Justin's movie. This is like, he's supposed to be the director of this whole film. He was also the lead character of this film, you know? And she had so much power at this point and took over the whole thing that like his team basically was like, just let her do this. Like it's too much headache to fight against it. That she ended up forcing him into the basement during the premiere. And he was
basement.
The basement. Like the fact that like he even got on the red carpet to take some photos is a miracle, because apparently like he got there just before she was supposed to arrive. So they had to rush him, be like, you have to take a few photos and go, because she's about to arrive. Because like he kind of snuck out there, right? Because he wanted to have a moment, and like he deserved that moment. Because like he put in a lot of work, and she did take over, and it's just a crazy whole thing.
Question
and who would win? Justin should win for sure. Not just because like he's obviously in the right with this whole situation, but also too like he has the receipts and the proof and the truth, and he was taken advantage of and walked all over of, and he did lay down, you know, at one point. But honestly, it's like all the allegations that are out against him have been proven wrong, and it's like, what did he really do wrong besides let her take over his production? Like he literally, like, that was his biggest mistake, was that she took over. And do you know what's even crazier? She forced all of like the posters, the movie posters, for them to remove his name. So she refused to have their names together, because you know with movie posters how it always has like the main actors' names at the top or whatever, or like somewhere it always says like
it just says her name.
It just says her name. She forced them to remove his name and also remove him as the director.
That shit crazy.
Yeah. So it's like at that point, like we skipped a whole lot here in between this, but like she escalated it so much to the point where like she got his name removed as even a cast on the poster and as a director on the poster and everything. Oh, and with Taylor Swift, another point, a side point, she threatened to not ask, like the way she worded it, she threatened that she will not ask Taylor Swift if they can use one of her songs in the trailer if they didn't like do a demand she was doing, because she was making it seem like it was a favor, even though the music team could have easily reached out to Taylor themselves to get the permission. But she was making it seem like, oh, I'm going to talk to her personally about this to get it, to use it for the movie. And if you don't do what I want, then I'm not going to ask her to do it, and I'll tell her no. Like, it's just like those little things that she was using to like hold power over everything. Like it was a lot. So yeah, she's from all of this stuff in here. She's a bitch. Dude, she's a bitch. She took over that shit. Dude, you were hired as the lead actress in this movie, and somehow you worked your way through it and bullied every single person and demanded so much and threatened so much to the point where the movie that was released was your version of the movie that you edited with a Deadpool editor team. Like, yeah, so
Dirty.
yeah, we can cut this off though, because I know this is a lot longer than I expected. But what
We're
are
not
your
even
thoughts?
halfway. So this is a to be continued.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll
yeah,
get
we
back
can
to this
continue
next
it
week.
later, but what are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts so far on what you've heard today.
Man, this girl is crazy. And so my main thoughts are she took advantage of homeboy, but homeboy let himself get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, if you would have put your foot down, if you would have put if your pimp director hand would have been strong, then
Mhm.
none of this would have happened. But here he goes making concessions and saying yes to all these negotiations that didn't even need to happen in the first place. Well, basically,
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say is he should have just said no from the beginning. Like, you're an
I know.
actor, you're getting paid to be the lead actor. If you don't want to do that, I will find somebody else. But
She threatened him at one point. We skipped over that too before they even filmed, because there was one part I know I skipped over that. She even threatened. She's like, "Well, why don't you rehire or recast me then?"
okay. So,
I
but I
know, and I'm
think
like, when I read that, I literally, because I was reading that with my coworker at the time, and I turned and I'm like, he should have fucking took that offer. That would have been the blessing of the whole
I'm
situation.
not sure how much of an established director he is to where he probably thought like
This was his third film that
this
he's
is
directed.
probably like a once in a lifetime opportunity to have somebody the scale of Blake Lively to
The
be in the
level
movie.
and to have a worldwide book
But
phenomenon. Yeah, so it's
not
a big
all
deal.
money's good money. You know, sometimes you got to cut your losses and take a different route. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. No, so like, yeah, I'm 100% like I'm on Justin's side with this. 100, because she is
Although
crazy.
I don't think it's a lock for him to win the suit because she never signed a contract. So
No, I think she eventually signed it, like right before they did the whole premiere and everything for it. She did eventually sign it. I'm pretty sure legally she had to have before they put it in
wow.
theater. She had to. Well, like I think it was just like for her to even get a paycheck, she had to sign it essentially, because they couldn't pay her until she did, right, or whatever. So
Well, I
yeah,
want to see the actual movie, the real
you should.
movie.
You literally should actually watch it this week as like homework.
No. Like the one I saw the other movie. I'm talking about the one where he
Oh wait, you saw this movie?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you saw it.
To be fair, I fell asleep through it.
Okay,
I got to the part where
I don't blame you.
he was following her outside the restaurant because she was talking to the waiter guy at the bathroom or something like that. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Do you
Like
love
the
me?" or
little
something like that. And she
uncle.
was like, I love you. I'm all about you." And so
Yeah.
that's why I left off.
I mean that's only like halfway in. Jeez, you didn't even
Yeah.
watch the ending. The ending,
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Like it wasn't that bad of a movie. It was okay. Like I'm not saying anything negative. The movie actually did turn out okay, but I want to see his version because I feel like it would be 100% better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, emoji. It gets spicy, bro. It gets spicy. Cause it's like a
Yeah,
love
but you
triangle.
watch it. That should be everybody's homework is to watch it, and then we can do a recap next week.
Yeah. Anywho, we are over 2 hours into this thing, so we are gonna let y'all go. Thank you guys for hanging out with the We're Not Friends podcast. Not really friends podcast. You guys are the realest. We'll pick this back up next week and see where we're at with the hot goss.
Yeah, make sure you guys watch it. Do your own homework, so you guys can have opinions.